Hey everybody, Alanna Kaivalya here. It is Friday. I hope that you guys are having an amazing day. And I was inspired recently by some of my spiritual coaching certification people to go a little more deeply into the tarot with you. I know how difficult it can be to try and get the answers that you need to the biggest questions that you have every day. Right? I feel like every single day we're hit with big questions like, are we on the right track? Is this what we're meant to do? Are we in the right place? Is this the right relationship? And sometimes getting those big, quick answers is really difficult on our own. And it's really beneficial to have a support system, a spiritual coach, if that's something that you'd like to enlist in or work with, or even to just try and reach out to our spirit guides for help. It can be very, very difficult without any kind of external support. But the good news is that we can have external support. This has long been one of my most favorite ways to get answers to our biggest, deepest, most powerful questions immediately. Right? There are other ways to get answers. It's really fantastic to work with astrology. Astrology is incredibly helpful in getting like long-term answers, seeing what the trends and patterns are, planning for the future, figure out what it is that we need to shift or enhance or bring more of into our lives. Astrology is great for that, right? So for the bigger, longer term, long range answers, bigger planning, for looking at our tendencies, habits, and patterns, I always use astrology. But for the quick answers to life's biggest questions, I go to the tarot. Now, there's reasons for this, and I wanted to explain some of my reasons for you because, it can be a little touch and go, right? For us as spiritual leaders and yoga teachers and spiritual practitioners, we want to be grounded. We want to be taken seriously. And sometimes if I pull something out like this, people are like, whoa, that's way too much woo for me. It's not. I actually come from a very grounded academic background. I have a Ph.D. in psychology and mythology. I've studied all this stuff. There's a very good reason why I would go to the tarot for us as modern Western spiritual practitioners. And that's because the imagery, the symbolism in this deck is designed for the Western psyche. So you and I have a Western psyche. We are modern Western practitioners. We're modern Western people. And there are just things alive within the psyche. This is something that we talk about a lot in depth psychology, which comes from Carl Jung. If you've ever heard of Carl Jung, he's very quotable. Certainly you've come across a Carl Jung quote and you're scrolling on Instagram or wherever it is you happen to be. But he really identified that there are symbols that are alive for us in our psyche all the time. And they are regional, right? And so we have the Eastern psyche, which has certain symbols and motifs and myths that really work. And then we have the Western psyche with its own symbols, motifs, and myths that really work. So if we are trying to get answers using a form of symbolism, trying to tap into the psyche for the wisdom that lies therein, because there is so much wisdom in there, we need to use the right language. We need to use the right symbols and the right myth. And I know that we all love yoga. I know that we all study yoga. Nobody knows this more than I do, right? I've written 3 books, 3 actual physical published books on the mythology of yoga, right? I get it. I love this stuff. However, inbuilt into our psyche, our Western psyche, is not the symbols of yoga and Eastern mysticism, but rather the symbols of Western mysticism, which are in the deck. So when you look at the tarot deck, you're going to see things that your psyche, your soul, your spirit innately knows, and innately understands. So it's very powerful. And when you get to know the cards, when you have a relationship with the cards, you actually develop a language that you can speak back and forth with those deeper workings of your own psyche. So when you pull tarot cards, you're literally laying your cards out on the table. You're literally seeing what is alive within you. You're going to be pulling the symbols and the words, the language that you need to see in that moment to get the answers that you need. Now, this is not magic, all right? It's not woo stuff, I promise. I mean, Look, I'm wearing crystals, right? I love the woo, I do. And I'm not here to diminish it at all. But what I want to emphasize is the grounded approach to this, that you are accessing what you already know. All right. Now, this is hopefully going to ring true for everybody who's here with me live on this broadcast. When we do this kind of thing, when we pull tarot cards or whatever form of divination we might be partial to, when we go to a medium, when we access our own spirit guides, whatever it is we're trying to resource to get these big answers, the answers we will get are always going to be what we already knew. But boy, it's nice to have confirmation, isn't it? Because we second guess ourselves, we ignore the wisdom, we don't want to hear it, we think it might be something else, but a part of us knows what the answer is all the time. It just does. And I know you know that, you know that I know that, nobody's kidding each other here. We're not trying to magic it out, that's not what this is. But what we do need sometimes is external affirmation, right? And I work with my spiritual coaching certification peeps on this, that sometimes all that we are as spiritual coaches and spiritual leaders are the external support, the external confirmation for people to continue to manifest their fullest potential and go in the right direction. Most people know their right direction, but it's so hard to go in the right direction. And it's especially hard to go in that right direction if you feel like you're alone, if you feel like you're on your own. Oh my gosh, it's impossible, right? Who wants to do something alone? Bueller. Yeah, nobody. Nobody wants to do something all alone. We want support. We want external confirmation. We want to know that we're on the right track. We want sometimes cheerleading and hand-holding. If you think even about Gandalf with Frodo on the long quest of the Lord of the Rings epic journey, Gandalf is there to cheer Frodo on. He's not there to do Frodo's work. And Frodo always knows that eventually he's going to have to return that ring to Mordor, even though that is a very difficult journey. But Gandalf is there to give him support. Gandalf is there to give him the tools that he needs. Gandalf is Frodo's spiritual leader. Hopefully you like that mythological reference. But what I wanted to do today is not just share with you how powerful the tarot deck can be and how relevant, truly relevant it is for you, literally you, whoever's watching this. It's completely relevant for you. If you are a Western person, this is your symbolism. If you want to know what's going on inside of you, if you want affirmation, confirmation, if you want some external, yes, on your path, the answers that you need, what's going on with you, it is right here. And when you work with the deck, and I teach this actually, I have a tarot reader's certification course. If you want to become a professional tarot reader, we have that. Because remember, we're all about modern mystics here at AlannaK.com. I'm here to help you do everything, complete everything, learn everything that you need to truly step into your role as a spiritual leader. That aside, no matter how you study the tarot deck, and this is the one I do recommend. Guys, there's lots of real pretty decks out there. This isn't necessarily the prettiest. It's the most relevant. Okay, there's pretty decks out there, but the potency of this one lies in the fact that within every card, you could simply pull a card, and just by looking at it, it's going to be evocative, meaning it's going to pull from within your own Western psyche images and symbols that you already recognize and know, right? When you look at a card like this, for example, you see someone staring off into space. You see them with two poles on one side, one on the other side, and they have an endless potential in front of them, don't they? And you see those staffs that he's holding have growth on them. And that's going to say to your psyche that there is some potential here. There's a wide landscape available to you, right out in front of you. The two on one side is there's some movement, some decision making, and that one is a singularity. You and I as yoga people, we love that oneness stuff. So he's got them organized, and two on one side, one on the other side. There's infinite potential, there's dynamism, there's movement, there's activity. You are moving in the right direction. All just from looking at this card, right? Now, in my tarot certification course, yes, I go through every card. I teach you exactly the symbolism and what it means. But even if you never went through that program, the purpose of these cards is that it is evocative. Your intuition is going to be able to tell you exactly what you need. So, right, I'm not planning this. This is live. Right? I'm going to not look. I'm going to pull a card, and we'll see what we see. Okay? So here we go. Again, and here's a good one for the Western psyche, right? And it doesn't matter what your religious or spiritual background is, okay? If you grew up in the West, you grew up with certain motifs and mythologies and things around you, and they are just within you. That stuff gets locked in early, right? That's why even for us as yoga practitioners, right? Again, no one more than me. 3 books, yoga mythology, love this stuff. You can't like retrofit your psyche. It's pretty much inbuilt, ingrained, and locked in by the age of about 5 to 7. So if you grew up in a Western context before the ages of about 5 and 7, you have a Western psyche. This is your lot. Time to work with it, right? Time to own it. Time to really utilize it to the best capacity possible. All right, so let's look at the card we pulled. This is the Ace of Pentacles. So what you're going to see here, if you are like me, you're going to see the right hand of what? Some mysterious being. We've heard about this, the right hand of God, right? Don't get triggered by that word. We can use any word we want to. But again, from our own mythology, from our own psyche, there's some spiritual element here that is quite literally, with its most benevolent force, handing you something. And it's handing you a coin. And for us, that means abundance. Now, the pentacles are an innate abundance. This is a feminine form of abundance. So it doesn't necessarily mean just what's in your wallet. It means the abundance that you have all around you, the things that you are grateful for, the things that enrich your life, the things that make you feel whole, powerful, complete. Whatever it is you count your blessings for, they're literally being gifted to you. Here you go. Here it is. So if you pull a card like this and you're not seeing those gifts, here's a good reminder to do so. All right, we're going to do one more today. So this is one of the things I do daily, actually, in my own practice, right? Because yes, I am a yogi. I am a yoga teacher. I have been in the yoga world, the field of yoga, for more than 20 years. I've written, led, created, directed teacher training programs, including my own. And I do not limit myself to the practice of yoga because I know that as a modern Western person, I need more than that. And I also know as a mystic that there are more practices, more credentials, more training that I need in order to truly help the people that I work with. Yoga, we would like to think of it as a silver bullet, but it is not, it's not everything. It's not the silver bullet that we would like it to be. And to truly step in our role as a spiritual leader, we need additional tools like a method of divination to get people those quick answers for what's happening now. We need to be able to look under the hood of the psyche with something like astrology in order to see what their habits, patterns, and tendencies are. Here's a fun fact. Carl Jung, the guy who really founded depth psychology, which I was talking about earlier, before he saw any client, he would look up their natal chart, their astrological chart. And his reasoning was that when he saw their birth chart, it gave him 6 months worth of knowledge that he didn't have to go through, and he could cut right to the chase and start working directly with whatever that person's issue was. How brilliant is that? How would we love to save 6 months of time trying to figure out our clients before just helping them with their problem? We would love that, which is why astrology is incredibly helpful as yet another tool in our toolkit, right? I'm not going to look, pulling another card. Ooh, this is a good one, you guys. So every day when I pull the tarot cards, I pull 3. 3 is good for just a daily reading. The first one you pull is like immediate past. Second one is what's happening today. And the third one will be what you will manifest or what the outcome is. So it's just a little past, present, future reading. It can be good for 24 hours, maybe a couple of days. Maybe you can stretch it to a week. But to keep things rolling and to keep that dialogue with your psyche, this stuff is very powerful. So here we go. Some really good imagery. And again, you'll recognize what's happening here. We have a lovely family. You know, this is old school family. It's 2022. Families look very different. However, when you look at this, you will see a representation of what we understand to be family. So, or at least what we recognize to be family. It's not what it looks like now, but it's just a representation. It's just evocative. And we have a rainbow, which always makes people happy. It bridges two things. And we've got cups. This is the 10 of cups. 10 is a perfect 10. We nailed it, right? You watch gymnastics Olympics or Olympics gymnastics like I do, then you know that a perfect 10 is when they just nail it. They stick the landing. So here we've got our perfect 10. We've got the cups. And if you've heard of that saying, my cup runneth over, again, a very Western saying, you understand that that means you are filled with joy. You are filled with gratitude. You are in the right space for you. You are in perfect alignment, in accord with what it is you are, who you are in this life. So here's your perfect 10. That beauty of the rainbow, the abundance of having all of what you need around you. So if you pulled a card like this, you definitely know that you're on the right track, that you're doing something magical and good and right in the world, and that you have stuck the landing, and that this is a cycle that you have completed, but that you can be proud of. You've gotten to a beautiful finish line, because we always know what's at the end of a rainbow, right? That pot of gold. And it's not a literal pot of gold. It's the reward for all the hard work that we have put in to traverse that arc to the other side. So, you guys, my fellow yoga teachers, spiritual leaders, those that are trying to answer the call to become a spiritual leader, I strongly recommend that you check out the tarot. I hope that this was inspiring and helpful and illuminating for you today. I also hope that I did a good job of grounding this for you. I'm showing you that this isn't magic, that it is actually a way for you to access the symbols that are already inbuilt within your psyche so that you can affirm probably what you already know, but just need that extra confirmation of. And if this is something that you want to learn, I have tons of resources for you. You can listen to lots of live broadcasts. I've done different broadcasts about the tarot. I have a certification course on the tarot, which you can always find on my website, alannak.com. And if you want to use this technique to work with other people and to help them, guide them into becoming the fullest expression of who they are, then I definitely invite you to join me in my spiritual coaching certification program, which starts Monday. There are 2 spots left. So if you've been thinking about it, definitely check it out. I'm going to put a link wherever you are so you can click on it, look at it. Also, when you visit my website, there's a couple of different ways to get a hold of me. I'm here to answer your questions. I'm here to support you. But remember, all you have to do is just pick up the deck. Just start looking at the cards, seeing what they say to you, see how you can develop the language so that you can speak back to the deeper parts of yourself and always get the answers that you need. The stuff is there for you. It's already within you. So you guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you always, always, always for being a part of my community. I deeply honor the work that you are doing as yoga teachers and spiritual leaders in the world. And it is my work absolutely to support you in that process and to provide you with all of the education you need to elevate your work as a spiritual leader and your career, your spiritual career. So whatever I can do, let me know how I can help. It's a pleasure to have you as part of my community. I will be back doing live broadcasts. I do these all the time. So I'll look forward to seeing you on the next one. And until then, everybody, please make sure that you take care of yourselves and take care of each other.